Is grief holding you back from living life? Take the hand of Jesus and let Him lead you forward to a new beginning. Grief, loss, and depression hasn't stopped what God was calling music artist Joy Holden to do. During the making of her albums, she experienced extreme grief. The death of her dad after a long struggle with Alzheimer's disease, and her niece diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, the death of her cousin, but she continues to press forward, encouraging and opening the hearts of others with God's love. This is her story. This is Today's Nashville. This is Faith. Joy, what a pleasure it is to have you. I'm so excited to hear about your story. Welcome to Today's Nashville.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you today, Terry.
Well, I want to hear all about you, how you got started, and so let's go back.
Okay. We go back several years. But I grew up listening to the Carpenters, and as a little girl, hearing Karen Carpenter play the drums and sing, I thought, that's what I want to do.
Were you from Nashville?
No, I'm a small town in South Carolina.
Okay.
But they were on a television show, and then years later, I traveled with bands and toured and did a show called Star Search back in the day.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Okay, back up. I went real fast.
The Carpenters inspired you.
Absolutely.
So were you always singing as a young girl, and did you sing in school? And
yes, and there was something about the melancholy sound and richness of Karen's voice. I know a lot of times it sounds sad, but that just really touched my heart. And then I grew up singing in the church.
Okay.
So that's the connection with gospel, and then just hearing different kind of arrangements came from listening to things like the Carpenters and some other 80s and 70s type of influences.
Well, were you a believer then?
Yes.
At a young age? Tell me about that.
Okay. I asked the Lord to come into my heart when I was 9 years old. I remember thinking clearly, as all little children do, that I didn't want to just do that to be popular because all the kids were going down the aisle at a certain age, that I wanted Jesus in my heart. And later at a youth rally, I did it again because I was a little bit older, had a little bit more maturity, and I thought there's more to it. There's a discipleship side, which is what I've really had to work on as an adult. Because, a lot of people are still newbie Christians for a long, long time, for decades and decades, and they don't seem to advance into discipleship and building that full relationship with the Lord.
That's so true.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that are saying they're Christian and they don't know the Lord.
Right.
They don't have that personal relationship with them. So your teenage years, uneventful?
No, well, I liked a little bit of rock and roll music. And so my parents would say, yes, uneventful, except I wanted to sing rock music, and that was not appropriate because my father said to me, I don't want you singing in bars. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not into drinking, I'm not into bars. He said, but that's where you have to sing that kind of music. And I was so young and naive, I didn't realize that was the truth. And so I started singing at church and doing that as well. And then I started doing country music, which I found a little bit more closer to that flavor of gospel. And you feel it deep in your soul sometimes.
Did you know during your teenage years and older that this is where I'm going to go? Or were you thinking about doing a different career, or was music it?
That is a great question, because I've had a couple of different careers. But always Plan A, heart of hearts, my passion was music, period. And I've gone into different fields. I was project manager at a big tire company called Michelin, which competes with your Bridgestone up here in Nashville. But I really enjoyed that, but it's still helping others and helping people to be inspired to achieve something. So as time went on, I gained a ton of weight and was just a very, very large person, but more than that. That didn't matter what I looked like on the outside. It was the way I felt on the inside. And that's when I got on my knees to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, help me walk through this journey, because I don't feel pretty, I don't feel seen, I don't know what God wants to do with this, because I want to sing. And God assured me, it doesn't matter what you look like, that you can do this. And he put me on a program, and I lost the weight and gained confidence and was able to really start giving back without worrying about what I was like in my own skin, and think about becoming a vessel for the Lord.
Now, this was older years too, but
Yes.
you went on Star Search.
Yes.
How old were you then?
Probably about 25-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. And went to Charlotte, North Carolina.
What was that like?
It was amazing. So we did all the video shoots. Now, what happened when we got through to the next round, and it was with my group, Holden, with some songs I had written, and they cut out the vocal band category at that time. So Ed McMahon was still there, and they said, we're sorry, we're not having this category anymore. So it just ended like that. It was just real quick. So it was heartbreaking. God had other things in mind.
So where did he take you from there?
He took me into the workplace. I worked in a public school system, worked with little children. I worked with 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and I said, okay, I'm going to go back to school and get a teaching degree. That will make my daddy happy. Won't be doing any of trying to do the music stuff. And it did make my heart happy, but I yearned and yearned for something more. So I went back to college a couple of times and got all my education finished up, but always came back to music. And it was around 40-ish, I sat down at the piano and I said, God, what do you want to do with me? And I started writing for Christ and have not stopped.
Age 40. Now, you've gone through a lot of struggles.
Yes.
Your dad, did he have Alzheimer's? Is that
Yes.
Did he have that while you were growing up or as you got older?
It was as I got older, but it was a long-term Alzheimer's diagnosis. And he was the provider for the family. So he took care of Mom, he took care of the bills, and he was just our safety net in our family. Godly man, read the scriptures, and I love to get out his old Bible and just see some of the things he marked. And I used to say, people will find this funny, I never wanted to be like my daddy. The older I get, everybody's like, you're like your daddy, and I'm like so happy that I am. I'm going to be like him.
But that was a big loss for you.
It was. It really was. And it was the first time I had watched somebody truly up close and personal take their last breath. So one of my first big songs, I wrote it the day after the funeral. It's called Jesus is Holding You. I didn't write it to record Terry. I wrote it just to process what grief I was going through. And started singing it, and I thought, oh, I need to record this. But I realized one of the things Daddy would do is he would say, Joy, I'm lost. Can you take me home? I don't know where I am. And, and that's hard for us because we're still thinking in, I'll call it a normal way. And he said, I'm lost. I want you to take me home. And I would put him in the car and drive him up to Ingalls, turn around, bring him right back home. And he would say, thank you so much, darling, for bringing me home. And his face would light up. So it's like a reset button.
That is precious. And so going through that, and then going through some other things that we're going to talk about, and how God has turned your life around, starting at the age of 40, and we are going to talk about it all when we come back.
That sounds wonderful.